Blessed to be a part of your daily wake-ups. It is Kay Millie in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. And without further ado, the Kevin Miller Cash Code word of the day. Code 1 is family. That's right, family. Remember, listen at 6:05, 8:05 during the Kevin Miller Show, Kevin Miller Mornings, and 3:05 during the Sean Hannity Afternoon Experience on KIDO Talk Radio, and you could win up to $5,000. More words, the greater your chances are to win on KIDO Talk Radio. Speaking of a winner, joining us now, our great friend, the cyber warrior, Michael Dougherty. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Not bad. Not bad for a Monday. So is this Michael Dougherty week in Washington, commenting on Mark Zuckerberg being held accountable for, oh my gosh, violating people's privacy on social media?
I don't know. I think maybe that the Screen Actors Guild should be hovering in because we're going to see some really good performances.
Well, that's what
I'm. Be all theater.
I'm wondering if it'll rival the performance of the actor that played him in The Social Network.
So I think the mask has really fallen off now. I don't know. He's, everyone's doing it. So I have mixed emotions about all this because I don't know what change is really going to come out of it. But it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, so it's fine.
Well, let's examine that for a minute when we're looking at certainly Facebook and the whole brouhaha that people are shocked that there's no privacy on Facebook.
Yeah, this is the part where I'm like, okay, well, I mean, fair enough. There is no expectation of privacy, and I don't know how many people really think there is, considering we've had kids posting everything that they could possibly think of for the past 15 years, which is always found shocking, and I'm so glad my childhood is not, recorded so that I don't have to have it stuck in my face. I mean, I think in 30, 40 years, these kids will be going, God, what was I thinking? And, maybe everyone will blame everyone else. I mean, part of the issue is, certainly we had no idea how much money would be made off of us when we gave permission, which we did, albeit naively, to basically track every single thing we do, to box it, analyze it, slice it, and dice it, and sell it. Now, obviously, there's a ton of money here. Then you have Facebook, who probably didn't know they'd become as wealthy as they did, and then he decides he wants to be a social engineer and stick his nose in everyone's business, and because he's a great person. So, and he doesn't want to have a company. He has a culture. And, yada, yada, yada. Then behind the mask, we're like, wait a minute, this is all an act, folks. These guys are making a fortune off just ripping into everything about you. And not only are they taking your private information and make money off it, they don't like you politically, they're hitting you too. Hence, what's really going on here, everyone's going nuts because Trump used these tools when it was Obama that was using the tools before, saying like, oh, wait a minute, we had a sword, but now they've got a sword. Oh, let's attack the sword maker. So we only want to have the sword. So, the reason this started has got nothing to do with privacy and data security and what Facebook did. The reason this all starts because the media was just outraged, that actually someone other than the left uses data mining technology in their political campaigns.
All right, Michael Dougherty, let's hold you accountable here at KIDO Talk Radio. By the way, Michael Dougherty is a director at the National Cybersecurity Society, a board member of the NetShield Corporation, the global leader in affordable breach prevention, the author of The Devil Inside the Beltway, the shocking expose of the U.S. government surveillance and overreach into cybersecurity, medicine, and small business here at KIDO Talk Radio. So let me hit you with this one. Will we ever know what Obama did with the Facebook guys in 2008 and 12? And really, the broader question, how much foreign money did Obama get, considering he didn't have to disclose anything because he never got matching funds? Questions that permeate, as you point out, around President Trump. But Obama was the one that pioneered this whole thing.
Well, I don't even give him that much credit. I mean, but I wouldn't say he pioneered it. It's just that he had a lot of people. People in tech are very far left, and because they're very young, and youth means theory, not reality. And as we get more in life and reality, we unlearn all that crazy stuff to realize it doesn't work. And it's also used against us. So That being said, I don't know that it will ever know. I don't know that it even matters, except the fact that if anyone ever they're going to try to assassinate Trump in the court of public opinion, because if they ever go to a real court, they probably lose, because that's when all that stuff would come out. So, it is a huge propaganda machine. I mean, huge. It's just the gaslighting is relentless. And, you can see it the second they start, when the first news about this was breach, and then, no, there was no breach. They stole it. No, they didn't steal it. So, I didn't know. So now we're back to, I didn't know. Now, fair enough, you didn't know. Is anyone going to be held accountable? Now, moving forward, are you okay with this? So, like Wozniak just said, he's not using Facebook anymore. Although I find it interesting that he deactivated his account and didn't delete it. So everybody wants to jump in here. But the big deal that does matter is, do you think we've lost our privacy now? Wait till it keeps spreading with there's chips and everything. I mean, now we're chipping our cars and our refrigerators, and, and there's these huge artificial intelligence, programs and cross-relational databases that can analyze who we're hanging with and who our friends are in our Facebook feed or Twitter. So, look, folks, we need to get Congress to actually do something about privacy, period. And you could destroy Facebook, and that problem's not going to go away.
Michael Dougherty with us, Kevin Miller here at KIDO Talk Radio. Let's get back to Zuckerberg. You don't really expect much today, and really, I think some members in Congress still use BlackBerry. So, I mean, how tech savvy are they? And will it just be one of the usual, well, Mark, you're a bad little Facebook guy. Yes, you're right. And then we go back to business as usual.
Well, that's what usually happens. First of all, BlackBerry's very safe platform. So BlackBerry could have their day. But in Congress, it's theater. Look, I mean, I've testified before Congress, and the camera stays on, who's ever asking questions and who's ever answering them. But the Congress, the camera really doesn't focus on the fact that all the other congressmen are not paying attention, are not looking at you, are talking to their aides, are looking down, are reading notes, are getting up, are leaving. Usually maybe the third of the congressmen are there. They keep rotating through, coming and going. It's theater. It's absolute theater. It is like, oh, we're doing something, and they're exploiting the short attention span of the American public. The only way anyone's really going to happen here is if they actually do something in the long term, and that's pressure from the public, because these politicians don't see a win for them. They just see getting blame by messing with technology, unlike medicine. The Democrats thought they could really get a big win out of medicine, so they could care less about medicine. It's just a political angle. They don't see how they can get a win out of tech, so they let it sit there and just be some huge mess. And so I don't have a lot of hope, actually, until the public itself gets even more outraged and understands more clearly what they're giving up.
Michael Dougherty joining us here. So let's talk a little bit about the leftist Twitter. They continue to just openly promote stuff, crazy things, where some guy's hoping there's a civil war and all the Republicans are wiped out. What the heck is going on with Twitter, and how mainstream is Twitter outside the media elite?
Oh, look, all this stuff is all the shadow banning at Twitter and labeling conservative thought as bad. Look, we have a pretty unaware, to be polite, populace that takes their rights for granted. And because they take their rights for granted, they can be taken away from them right beneath their eyes. And so Twitter, they're all guilty of this. Facebook just called Diamond and Silk dangerous, two African American women that go on there and their YouTube, that's Google owns YouTube, and their YouTube stuff got pulled. Got downgraded, so they can't get as a wide an audience or make as much money. I mean, these are forms of throttling one way or the other, and it is, the hypocrisy of these people really has to be known. These are the people that are exploiting everybody's privacy. These are the people that are taking every single thing about you, regardless of what your political persuasion is, and they're packing it, sucking it out, making a fortune. So now they're going to become the deciders as well This is dangerous stuff. And people have to really understand that if you are okay with someone being silent and you disagree with them so much you want to label them with all these bad names, you don't control where the line's drawn. And pretty soon the line will come back at you. And, we're pretty vulnerable till we really put our foot down. And we'll see. So, and you look at how they're just chomping at Facebook. Just wait till this happens again. This will happen again. And because the campaign's coming up. And Trump is ready to take him on again. So welcome to the new next stage of the battle for information about us.
Michael Dougherty, anything else you'd like to share with the public here in Idaho at KIDO Talk Radio?
Just get your popcorn and beer to watch these hearings. They should probably get pretty high ratings, and don't expect a whole lot to happen long term. If you forget it as quickly, so will they.
Thank you for starting the day so early with us. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Michael Dougherty, our great friend. Let's go to R&R, who's been patiently waiting with Kevin Miller. Welcome to Monday, R&R, on KIDO Talk Radio.
Honored, Kevin. Hey, first of all, may I just freelance and help you pay some bills? I'm going to endorse your hearing assessment, and the people in the region that will do the testing for anybody you truly care about that's distracted by over noise and the scurry and fast pace. Those hearing devices are just splendid, and I know from personal experience and people I care about, which brings me to my point. One of your parting last lyrics, I don't know if you know what a brilliant lyricist you are, but when you said, hey, anybody that wants to watch me watch TV, I'm going to give them a show. There were so many of us rolling on the floor in my little circle of friends that catch and release steelhead. Kevin, when you watch TV, you just let it all hang out, may we say. And I'm certain that Mrs. Miller and your mother, and myself included, some of us do what we do for reasons to relax, and I'll never make judgment on you. I do care about, I'll define it again, a diet is everything we eat. I hope you're doing really well in curtailing your propensity for the salty meats and the sweets. I'm going to endorse one more person. I know I never endorse things unless I'm certain of it. You get to Arctic Circle and just head straight west and go into Middleton. The finest grocer, my personal opinion and professional again, is the grocer in the adjoining town of Middleton. What a phenomenal business, and I am certain you know him. Or how to get groceries within about 20 minutes of the Arctic Circle going straight west. And then I promised Ray, I think it's not too soon in the campaign to advise and give credibility to the man that spoke last week about giving service to everybody that's inside the walls and locked up. We've got too many people in the United States and continental United States and satellites that will perhaps not see a long time before they see, quote, freedom and access to the right to vote. And if pro-life and others want to join forces, probably your mother too, we would love to, I'd sit on a council to get them the right to listen to you in the morning, first of all, and all the programming on this station, especially all the way through Lars Larson and till the lights out. So anybody that can hear my voice this morning in English, which brings me to my last, I think it's time that your station that you represent, look at broadcasting as far as you can, clear back to where Lars originates, to the Pacific Coast, and you think about simultaneous broadcast in Spanish language. Because I am certain that at 0400 this morning, there were literally thousands of Latinas preparing to go to work. Clear back as far as you can go back, clear up to Spokane and the Palouse, and then as far as Twin Falls. So if you could, and I have people that are bilingual that are way too busy to do it in my family, but if you could somehow get an app that your words are broadcast and everybody that comes through and just have it, seems fairly simple to me. Love you. Peace out.
All right, love you too, R&R. Coming up, more of your phone calls concerning the libs and kids. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
President Trump leaves later this week for the Summit of the Americas in Lima, Peru. Administration officials say no news is expected at the summit on the renegotiation of the North American Free Trade Agreement or any new sanctions on the Venezuelan government. Although the president will hold meetings with several regional partners, he's not expected to hold a meeting with Cuban leader Raul Castro. Following his trip to Lima, the president will travel to Bogota to meet with Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos. There, the president will promote good governance and democracy in the Western Hemisphere. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to David in Nampa. David, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. Do you remember when Bill Gates made a speech and he said, it was on medicine, and he said, we need to talk about maybe end-of-life issues and spending. I can't say death panels because, and he didn't know why he couldn't say that. May I tell you why he couldn't say death panels?
Sure.
The reason he couldn't say death panels is two things about liberals. One, liberals are lady parts, and two, liberals are babies. Remember, it's not high school with money. It's the schoolyard with money. You know, all the lessons you learned in those 5 or 6 years in the asphalt jungle, that's what you need to know. You know, there's the popular kids, and there's the sheep, and then there's the out kids. If they come up with an out or, you know, an idea, it's instantly trashed. Okay? The reason Bill Gates couldn't say is, well, using a childism, it's had Sarah Palin cooties on it. Sarah Palin was unpopular, therefore anything she says is stupid, bad, and not to be done. There was a whole book written about this, and the Democrats celebrated it. It's called Inside the Cave. It was how Obama did use social media. And by the way, it's still, you know, Google is the Democrats' IT. And this has actually been tested. Like, let me give you an example. You know how when you have ballots, you have all these crazy parties, and then you'll have ones you've heard about? You know why they do that? Because if your candidate is not on the top of the ballot, you lose votes. So you have to change it precinct to precinct, so every ballot is different. They've done tests. If your Google ranking, if the top 2 Google rankings are positive, then you get votes. If the top 2 rankings are negative, you lose votes. So right now, like, there have been conservatives and libertarians who look for their article, and the first thing they get is the hit piece, trashing their article. You know, Google, how many times was Eric Schmidt in the White House? They almost had an office. You know, you go to Bing or you know, what am I thinking, Yahoo, and you write, Hillary Clinton is. Okay, and they'll give you what people are searching for. Hillary Clinton is the devil. Hillary Clinton is a criminal. Hillary Clinton is sick or dying of cancer. You go to Google and write those words. Hillary Clinton is awesome. Hillary Clinton is winning. Well, that was in 2000. You know, that was a couple of years ago. But all of a sudden, Donald Trump might have done something with, 50 million people that they've celebrated, done with, 40 times that? Hello? Again, liberals are babies. Now, all of a sudden, it's got Donald Trump cooties on it. They're not complicated. They're simple.
Great point, David. Traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning. Don't forget, coming up this Thursday, Thank You Thursday. Special prizes to reward you for listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
If you doubted whether the next generation is going to be ready in the United States of America to step up and lead the way as the generations before them get a little tired, boy, did any of that doubt fade in the last 2 months.
There we have it. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk
What
Radio.
is unfathomable is how this is not unique to us and to this community anymore. This has become something that is becoming way too common. This time, the gun rights crowd messed with the wrong community, the wrong kids, and the wrong dad.
There we have it. That is Fred Guttenberg on guns, urging people to take more action against your firearms and your right to keep and bear arms. Good morning, Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Of course, over the weekend, unfortunately, there was a chemical attack in Syria. The president responding, and then you have Senator Lindsey Graham on some of the big shows saying that it's time for the president to step up. We'll take your calls on that in a minute.
They think that the Western world is basically already gone anyway. The president is yelling at the world to help him more. The Arabs are there, but not enough of a presence. They really do believe that this will be a one-and-done strike, right, that the Western world is not going to come back, that the Arabs are not going to do anything differently. He's trying to show his enemy, I can do anything, do you I want to. Right. The rest of the world just talks. He really believes this will be met with a very small response, one attack, and it will be over. Right. And if that happens, God help us all.
And there we have it. Remember, when you hear Fox News on the radio, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio here in the Treasure Valley. And, you know, many years ago, we were talking about the Middle East all the time. We had troops, though, in Iraq and in Turkey and in other parts of the region. Maybe that's why we have this heightened attention now. It seems like outside noise. But when we take a look at the Russians using chemical weapons to take down people in Britain, to use chemical weapons, whether it was Assad, whether it was someone else using those, whether it was the Russians in Syria. You know, for the world got along between now and the end of World War II on this whole premise of mutually assured destruction. Yes, we had the Korean War, but it never escalated to a nuclear war. Yes, we had Vietnam, but it never escalated. Yes, we had Agent Orange and other areas, but we never went back to what happened during World War I with the chemical weapons. Now we see these rogue states, whether it's Syria, whether it's the Iranians, whether it's Saddam Hussein back in the day, using chemical weapons. And now you have hawks like McCain and Lindsey Graham urging the president to do something. Coincidentally enough, this was right after the president said we were getting out of Syria. Thinking about this, that's where you come in at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. It would be nice if we could just get out of the Middle East and let them do whatever they want to each other. But perhaps that just isn't being realistic. And by the way, the Israelis did strike Syria earlier today.
Syria and Russia saying Israel struck an airbase in central Syria before dawn, 3 missiles landing, and according to war monitors, 14 people were killed. The Israeli government hasn't commented. Syria's president is rejecting the allegations his forces used chemical weapons on civilians. His main backer, Russia, also dismissing the reports. The Russian foreign minister saying it's a provocation. Simon Owen, Fox News.
Really comes down to this. Do you support more actions in Syria? Really, what is the win? Assad has been a bad guy for a long time. In fact, Syria and the Middle East seem like just an area that we should avoid. You know, the bad part of town that you don't go to? You know, what's the win? What's the win in Syria? What's the win in Iran? What's the win in Iraq and Saudi Arabia, where they've been fighting for thousands of years, where America, even as great as we are, we seem like a pre-adolescent kid when dealing with these civilizations that all they've known is hatred, all they've known is war. And what is our return on investment for the great country of America? Ron Paul, Jim, I thought of you this morning when I decided to do this topic. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Morning. Yeah, I just you have to question the motive. If Assad was actually behind this, and we're about to pull out, why would he do that to keep us in? And I think that this is, common sense. He's not a stupid man. He's very intelligent. He's educated in Britain. He was, I believe, a practicing ophthalmologist, before his father died. But all I've seen is this campaign of rhetoric about him, which includes the sins of the father. I haven't seen ones that were showing any proof that he was behind it. So I don't see anything, especially this chemical attack, this gas attack. It's chemicals that can be made at Walmart, from what I understand. At least that's what I'm reading online, is it doesn't seem to be as, anything sophisticated that happened. So why blame Russia at this point? And then same issue with the two that got poisoned. He had him in his custody in prison, let him go, and then go and kill and try and kill him. And I'm pretty sure if the Russians wanted to kill somebody like that, it would have happened. I don't think they would have survived. So I don't know. I smell a rat. I smell a rat on all these things that seem to drag us back into somebody else's war. And, I see the Saudi Arabians behind a lot of this. There's been, a lot of evidence leading up to this point that Saudi Arabia and Israel and the United States together are trying to destabilize that region. We have a history of proxy wars that we start. Why are we doing this? Well, it's not in the, what is it? Vital U.S. interest? What does that mean exactly? Does that mean us personally in our country, our national security, or does it mean corporate interests globally who are interested in, controlling and taking out leaders in countries and putting in their puppet dictators? I'd say the latter.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem when we let other countries decide, who they're going to elect. You get the Muslim Brotherhood and you get the mullahs in Iran. Remember, the Shah was a bad guy. We supported the Shah, and then all of a sudden, the Shah had to go, and the Ayatollah came in, and that was the end of us.
Well, we propped up the Shah. They had a democratically elected person before that, and we had to overthrow him because he wouldn't follow the global narrative that they were looking for. Operation Bootstrap, I believe it was called.
Well, that's the problem. We again, if we let these people to do their bidding, then they usually elect someone that's not in our national interest.
Well, that one was for a British oil company interest, which later became BP.
Yep,
because they're going to nationalize their resources. Sound familiar? Isn't that what we're doing now?
Yeah, you have family in Syria, so you have more expertise on this than most of us. But, even before the civil war and stuff, Assad, there were issues where Assad was torturing him, and I'm talking torturing people, and I'm talking about little Assad, not big Assad.
Well, show the evidence of that, the proof of that, and not the allegations of some propaganda piece that lives in Britain.
We had reporters that we had Courtney Keeley, who was there and witnessed it herself. She would tell us that years ago. You remember that?
Well, I remember a congresswoman from Hawaii that was there, and she actually went there and talked to the people, and they said, "Why are you guys coming into our country and doing this? Leave us alone." Listen to her.
Well, you could always talk John McCain as well. So,
well, John McCain was seen photographed shaking hands with one of the terrorists, the one that was grabbing the heart out of one of the soldiers. You're
right.
So
what do you believe? What do you believe Trump will do on this?
Well, I hope he has a cooler head and doesn't buy into this emotional propaganda that's being spewed to try and get him to do something. It's really strange that the liberal left is chanting for war. They used to be anti-war. They used to be staying out of foreign entanglements. Now they're as big a warmongers as the neocons.
Right. You're right. Ron Paul, Jim, thank you for the call. 580-5436. 580 KIDO, Kevin Miller in the morning here. So war talk with Syria is on the agenda.
We need to make sure that there is a proceeding started by the international community to hold them responsible. This is not the first use of chemical weapons. Secondly, Congress passed very strong sanctions against both Russia and Iran.
Right. The sanctions don't appear to be doing anything. A chemical warfare attack in Syria. People are urging the president to do more than just send missiles. Of course, remember when Obama and the libs laughed at good old Mitt Romney when he said Russia was our enemy, and now the libs probably think Mitt Romney's the greatest thing ever. Terry, formerly of State College, Pennsylvania, will miss you during the Dave Petzo segment this morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, you know, when somebody does that CNN liberal fake news attack whoever doesn't agree with you thing, you get tired of it. Yeah, cowardice, whatever it is. Hey, Kevin, 6 weeks ago, and I wish I would have bookmarked this, one of the intel reports came out of the Mediterranean area. There was a cargo, I believe it was merchant, that had chlorine on the manifest. And it was headed towards Turkey. And everybody's like, what is this doing here? Because it was in the usable category of a weapon. And again, I wish I would have, it just came up, hey, who's this? Where's all this from? And it turned out it was from Americans. And I think our State Department was tied into it somehow. So again, I'm questioning because you've got all these people going back into Syria saying, hey, good, we got rid of Al-Qaeda, we got rid of ISIS, and now we can go home, now we're safe. And we voted our President Assad into office. Oh, now he's going to hit us again? And then you got McCain coming out later. Oh, yeah, we got to go in. We got to bomb the daylights out of them. Come on, this is the same old story it always is.
So wait a minute, you agree with Ron Paul Jim that it was a setup?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Without even question. We had a general come out, even 4 weeks ago. I should be bookmarking this and make a whole story out of this for you. He came out and said, to this day, we still have zero evidence that Assad has ever used any chemical weapons on his own population. One of our own generals said that, Kevin. Come on. That was on Zero Hedge even. I mean,
all right,
incredible sources.
Here, let me just give you the headline.
I know the headline.
Trump threatens animal Assad. Russia calls gas attack fake news.
Well, Russia also said, this is the last one. You won't do this again. You come in, we're coming after you. Now, that's the scary part. And don't forget, we pre-positioned our aircraft carriers before this. They won the Mediterranean. We were, and was it 3 weeks ago, Putin said America is getting themselves ready to attack Syria from their aircraft carriers. 3 different aircraft carriers. And if they do it, we're going to take out their planes, and if necessary, we will take out their aircraft carriers with our hypersonic missiles. I'm like, come on, man. So the fact that we're having this supposed attack once again, right? Like the last attack, there's people
Why would the
running
Russians give a crap about Syria?
Because they're one of their allies. Same reason we would give a crap about Germany.
Yeah, well, Germany we have such a history with, but Syria, nobody gave a rip about Syria for years.
Well, remember, there's two different pipelines.
There's no oil. Pipelines. Right, there's no oil in Syria, though.
No, but there's 2 different pipelines that we want to run through Syria. 2 different lines, one gas, one oil. Come on. And then that allows us, as Russia, to go up there and sell all this gas to the European Union. And of course, that means we can control the European Union at a later point, granted. But, Kevin, what's scary is when you said, we should allow or we should not allow. Who are we to dictate who any country elects and puts into office? Who are we to do that? And then we wonder why the world hates us. We wonder why a majority of the Middle East is now leaning towards Russia and turning away from us. We're even losing Turkey because of what we've been doing over there.
Well, we're losing Turkey because they elected a secular leader that is the most pro-Islamic radical Erdogan that we've ever seen. Far from the days of Ataturk, Brother Terry.
Well, and don't forget, Turkey has always had a history of doing only what benefits them, period. I mean, they'll put their own interests so far above everybody else. They'll turn on their own brother, their own sister.
And
I agree with that.
And they'll let you marry their sister and sell you carpets. That's not being ethnocentric. That's my time in Turkey.
I just don't. Hey, and a friend of mine, Master Nesbitt out of New York, he used to get the contract every year to go to Turkey and train their special forces in hand-to-hand combat.
Don't mess with the Turks. I got to run, Terry. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day, Kevin.
You too. Our great friend Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. More of your thoughts on, is it time to say sayonara to Syria? Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. And Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Quickly to Hank. We've got about 30 seconds, brother, or you can call back later.
The problem with Ron Paul's point is he's not thinking in the context of 1951 and 53 when those decisions were made in Iran. The oil in Persia was essential for Britain and Western Europe. This is before the Saudi fields were fully developed, and also the Libyan fields and other fields in the Middle East. They were almost totally dependent on oil, and the Saudi basically threatened to cut off those oil supplies and was playing games. They're playing a game of ransom on that, and it's the danger is not thinking in the context of the times when those decisions were made. That's the problem with his phone call.
Hank, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller, Fox News next. Good morning.